Hello, dear students. My name is Saif Apti, and I'm Associate Professor with School of Management, BBD University. Uh, Today, we are going to start the fourth unit of the subject advertising and brand management. And basically, the fourth unit talks about brand positioning. So, in the So the topics we are going to cover are concepts and definition of brand positioning, three C's of positioning, positioning and differentiation strategies, repositioning, celebrity endorsements, brand extension, managing brands over time, brand reinforcement, brand revitalization, managing global brands, and finally branding in different sectors. So now let's look at the definition. So positioning is about answering the questions where. So basically, the question where does your brand sit on the dimensions that are important to customers. Positioning is about building the image of the brand. It is also about how the brand is being perceived in the market. Now, the proper definition from Philip Kotler, it says that brand positioning is the act of designing the company's offering and image to occupy a distinct place in the mind of the target market or the target audience. Positioning also must result in creation of a customer-focused value proposition. It must provide a cogent reason for buying the product. Most successful brands occupy distinct positions that set them apart from competition and provide the target customer a reason to favor them. So, for example, Woodland is known for sturdy shoes and especially shoes while you go for trekking or doing other adventurous things. Pears soap is another example, which basically identifies itself as a soap with a difference because it has glycerine and it tells that you will have a skin like a baby. So we know that the babies have a very soft and tender skin. So it positions itself that like that you will have a very soft skin, as soft as a baby's skin. Then similarly, Liril or Synthol, they position themselves as a soap with freshness. So they will either say that look, it will give you, it will be, if you bathe with a Liril or a Synthol soap, you will remain fresh throughout the day. Or once you come back to your, after doing hard day's work, then you will, once you bathe with a little, then you'll be as fresh as when you get up in the morning. Likewise, Livon hair care, it position itself as a after bath hair detangler. So normally women use this product because when they bathe, their hair get all tangled up. So Livon position itself as a after bath hair detangler. Then Tanishq, the jewelry brand from Tata's, they position themselves high on quality and trust. So what is brand positioning? So basically brand positioning is the last stage in the marketing strategy. So marketing strategy starts with identification of market segmentation, then choosing the target market, and once the target market is selected, then positioning is done. So let's quickly look at how it works. So market segmentation is basically an act of, we'll just revise this. You would have studied this previously, but just a small revision, that market segmentation is the act of dividing the market on some relevant basis such as demographics or psychographics, geographically, usage, benefits, and loyalty. So it can be any one of them or few of them or all of them. Then comes the next step, which is target selection. So here you choose a group of consumer depending on the feasibility, attractiveness, or accessibility. So you choose a target market or target consumer group, then comes positioning. So now in under positioning, a decision has to be taken that what does the brand stand for in the minds of the prospective customers. And another important thing, where does the brand stand for in the mind of prospective customer in relation with the competition? Now, one thing closely associated with brand positioning is USP. You would have heard this word a lot of time, but USP means unique selling proposition. So if we just break it up, so basically there are three components of USP. One is unique. So unique is what sets you apart as a brand in this case. So then selling. So does it persuade the customer to buy your brand? And finally, proposition is a proposal for potential acceptance. Okay. So, for example, Cadbury's Dairy Milk Silk, the USP of Cadbury's Dairy Milk Silk chocolate is that it's so good, it's so soft, it's that it melts in your mouth. So as soon as you eat, it will, and so much so that it will come. So if you see the advertisement of Cadbury's Dairy Milk Silk, you will find that it's just literally flowing out of the mouth. It's so soft, it's so good to have. So that is what USP is. Now let's look at the three C's of the positioning. So first is brand image is about connecting a brand with the customer. Then relevant and completely different idea or proposition. Then a brand must stand for a clear idea. Lack of idea or lack of clarity is basically a recipe for disaster. And for a brand to participate in consumer decision making process, it must clearly signal what it is all about. And so a consumer must know that what does a brand stand for, what it is all about. So as we said that when we were talking about, I had given the example of Levon. So initially when it came in, so because hair detangler was a new product, so nobody knew about it. So that's where the advertisement and all these and portraying a brand image was important, and that's what they showed. And that's why if you talk about Levon, it immediately strikes your mind that it's a hair detangler. So you have to clearly signal what all is your brand about. Then, so coming to the three C's, so basically target customer, target competition, and the company. These are the three C's. Okay. So first one, the target customer. So this is the first and foremost thing which a brand should consider to position itself in the market, is that you should know that what is your target market or what is your target customer. Then you should know that now you have decided that what is your target customer. Now you should know that what matters to your target customer. उसके लिए क्या important है, क्या relevant है. You should know that what matters to your customer. Then target customer, uh, basically, as the name suggests, it serves as a target for marketing efforts. So whatever, so your marketing efforts since are focused on the target customer, so it acts as a target for the prospective customer. Then this potential buyer must voluntarily respond favorably to the brand. It's not that you are forcing the target customer, or he or she should voluntarily respond favorably to your brand. That is very important, because uh, if the target customer is not responding favorably to your brand and voluntarily that too, then all the effort goes down the drain. It holds no value. So some basic things which a, a customer looks into is price, service, convenience, and the assortment, or the different types of options he has under the brand. So price, service, convenience, and assortments, these are the basic things which a customer is looking for. Then competition. Second is target competition. So basically, it's a jungle out there. When you it's the market space is actually a war is happening out there. So all the major brands, the small players, the big players, everybody's fighting for their pie. And if you win this war without any casualty, that is the best strategy. So positioning helps in helps you to choose your competition. Then uh, you will have two types of competitors. One is direct competitor, and so what is direct competitor? Direct competitor is uh, uh, competition between various brands for the same product. So for example, Bata and Liberty, they are competing in the shoe market, and majorly they are fighting in the, so both of them are similar brands. So both of them have formal shoes, both of them have casual shoes, both of them have their brands of sport shoes. They have their own brands of sandals and flip flops and chappals and all these kind of things. Likewise, Lee and Levi's are direct competitors. They are competing in the casual wear segment, majorly jeans. So Lee also produces jeans, Levi's also produces jeans. Then they have T-shirts, they have jackets, sweatshirts, and whatnot. So this is direct competition, like Bata and Liberty, Lee and Levi's, and you can see like Prestige and Hawkins. So likewise, you will find this direct competition in each and every segment, each and every category. So now the other competition is basically second level of competition, where two different product categories are fighting to serve the same customer. So this is bit interesting. So like during Diwali time, you will see that Cadbury tries to promote its chocolate hampers, and at the same time, Haldiram is also trying to sell its स्वीट्स, मिठाई जिसे हम कहते हैं. सो यहाँ पे क्या है, टारगेट कस्टमर एक है. टारगेट कस्टमर इज द पर्सन who wants to buy something sweet or gift something to his relatives or friends or colleagues. So here Cadbury's and Haldiram are vying for the same customer, but their product category is different. So Cadbury's is offering chocolates, whereas Haldiram is offering sweets. So these are so one is direct competitor, and the second one is where the product category is different, but the customer is the same. In the first one, the direct competition, the product category was also the same and the customer was also the same, the target customer. So these are the two categories of target competition. Now, basically when you in under positioning, you can basically have two kinds of positioning. So you have two options. One is broad or wide positioning. The second one is narrow positioning. Broad or wide positioning is somewhere where the competitive set is loosely defined. Like for example, Bata. So Bata has shoes for men, shoes for women, shoes for children, formal shoes, sports shoes, sandals and chappals and slippers and flip flop and whatnot. So when the concept of the brand is generic, it overlaps all kinds of products in different categories. Now, what is narrow positioning? Narrow positioning is basically the the competitive set is very narrowly defined. So, for example, Nike competes only in sports shoes, and its competitors are other sports shoe brands like Adidas, Puma, and Reebok. So here, what is happening is that the brands are specializing in a niche market, and and further, a shoe brand, for example Nike and Adidas or Puma, Reebok, can further narrow down competition by going into a particular sport shoes. So for example, football shoes, golf shoes, or the spikes which are being used, spiked shoes used by runners, or bowling spikes used by cricketers, bowlers. So that is what narrow positioning is. So here I have given you a illustration of how wide and narrow positioning works. So if you look at, for example, this is generic. Wide positioning is generic. So we have shoes, we have sport shoes, we have formal shoes, we have adventure shoes, we have party wear shoes. So I've listed one brand for each. So for example, Nike is in sport shoes, just one example each. Formal shoes, we have Clarks. Adventure shoes, we have Woodland. And party wear shoes, we have Jimmy Choo. Then I have taken one example of one particular brand like Bata. So Bata has formal shoes which come under the Ambassador brand, then adventure shoes which come under Brenner brand, then they have party wear shoes which come under Hush Puppies, they have old age shoes, basically people who have problem walking and they need comfort, they have the brand Shoal for that, and then they have sport shoes which come under the brand Power. So this is how generic things work. Narrow positioning, you can see that sports shoes, we have different brands, like, so here out of the all the generic things we have picked one. So now sports shoes, we have Puma, we have Nike, we have Adidas. Likewise, adventure or outdoor shoes, we have Brenner and we have Woodland, and we have others also like Red Chief and Red Tape, and all those are also coming. So this is how you position yourself. So it's either wide positioning or narrow positioning, and under narrow positioning you can further drill it down to further more narrower aspect. Then the third C is the company or the brand. Then a brand represents a value that a marketer offers to its target customer. Now, we have seen that the previous two things, we had seen that for customer and competitor, we had seen that for customer it is the value space, for competitor it is the competitive space. Now, for a successful positioning, it requires simultaneous consideration of both the value space as well as the competitive space. So single-minded focus on customer value will lead to brands becoming undistinguished in the competitive space, then because the competitor may offer something very similar. Likewise, if you are only concentrating on the competitor, it would lead to unique or different proposition. But when you combine both the dimensions, that is customer and competitor, then you have a brand which is both unique and relevant. Now, let's look at brand positioning and the differentiation strategies. Now, Kotler defines differentiation as a process of adding meaningful and value differences to distinguish the product from the competition. So now there are a number of differentiation dimensions and strategies for, for accomplishing this. So let's look at the five major one along which a firm can differentiate, a brand can differentiate itself. So number one is product, number two is services, then the personnel, the channel, and finally the image. Now let's look at them one by one. Product differentiation. So product differentiation may include customization of the product, bundling of many products, or attractive pricing of the product. Traditionally, the retailers basically rely heavily on product packaging and as compared to online. So online, if you will see that packaging is of not that much importance, but traditional retailers, they rely a lot on product packaging. Also, packaging minimizes waste and cost. So it reduces basically waste and cost. So this was product differentiation. So basically customization of the product, bundling many things together, and attractive pricing of the product. Then second is service differentiation. Service differentiation is where, for example, you are providing home delivery, you are providing 24/7 customer helpline, you are providing after sales services. So this is another aspect where you can differentiate your brand. Then the third is channel differentiation. So basically, different companies use different types of channels for distribution. So for example, these days e-retailers are very popular. So this is one kind of differentiation which some companies are taking. So while with respect to channel differentiation, likewise many outlets are cutting off the middlemen, like Metro or Big Bazaar. They are directly taking it from the manufacturers and selling it at their outlets, so reducing the cost and giving a better shopping experience to the customers. So this way, the third type of differentiation strategy is when you are differentiating the method of distribution or um, uh, the channels of distribution. Then image differentiation. Uh, the company or brand image should be able to convey the product's distinctiveness, benefits, and positioning. So a company can differentiate itself by creating a unique experience, thereby creating a different image for itself. So, for example, if we look at a brand called 3M, 3M, which basically we know 3M for giving us unique products. So, for example, Scotch Brite was one of them. Sticky notepads was one of them. So, all these products were unique to the market. They were not there before, and since 3M is known for innovation, so we see that we know that if it's a if the brand is 3M, we will know it for innovation. So that's how you make your image and you differentiate yourself from the competitor. Then the final one is the personnel differentiation. So if you employ better people, if you hire better people, if you train your people in a better way, then you are better than your competitors and you are different from your competitors. Now, uh, the the few steps you take while differentiating yourself and positioning yourself are: first is that you identify possible competitive advantages. Then second is choosing the right competitive advantage, and then finally selecting an overall positioning strategy. So these are the three steps. So first you identify what are the possible competitive advantage you will get. Then you will choose one of them, the correct one for your brand, and then you will select the overall positioning strategy. Now the first step, identifying possible competitive advantage, is that it is an advantage over the competitors gained by offering greater customer value either through lower prices or by providing more benefit that justify higher pricing. So either you are giving a lower price, but in case you are charging a higher price, you will have to justify it by providing more benefits. So then there are specific strategies which may include like being the first brand to enter the market, owning a product attribute in the mind of the customer, demonstrating product leadership, utilizing an impressive company history or heritage, communicating the difference, supporting and demonstrating the differentiating idea. Then second one, choosing the right competitive advantage. So the criteria for choosing the right competitive advantage should be that it should be important, it should be distinctive, it should be superior, it should be communicable, it should be preemptive, affordable, and profitable. Then finally, we'll come to selecting an overall positioning strategy. So here you can see there is a graph here. It's like it's a 9-cell graph. So on one side there are benefits, and on the other axis it's price. So the benefits, the first square in the bottom, it's like you will get less benefits for more price, and then likewise in the topmost square you will get more benefit for more price, which is basically the win-win value proposition. So basically that is the win-win, and the worst one is that you will get less benefits for less price. So this is how But again, it will depend. It's not that always you will win with the more for more policy. Sometimes more for same, sometimes more for less. So different, it will actually depend on various other factors, but these are the positioning strategies which a brand considers while positioning itself. So I'll stop here for today, and in the next class, we will discuss repositioning. Thank you, class.